the share I got was really
It was
a
double.
big one because they would hit you and then they say the last person should say, because we were 13, so you would say 13, the last number. So they hit us like 6 rounds actually, or 7. So the last person said 13. Then someone shouted, last number, because it was unbearable.
And then
they really wanted it to end, and they said, now this one has spoiled each and everything. Because we thought that so they repeated. Lucky enough, I was the last person because, of course, I was so cautious about whatever was happening.
Yeah.
So when they hit me, I said 13 last number. Then they said, okay, now we now know the number.
This is the Policy Digest, a Center for Policy Analysis podcast that explores how African societies are governed and how people and their leaders are shaping the future of their communities. Through candid conversations and insightful analysis, we aim to provide a deeper understanding of the political, economic, and social landscape of Africa. So sit back, relax, and get ready to explore the diverse and dynamic world of African governance.
I don't know what it feels like to be a part of a media group, Monitor, NTV, the new station which President Museveni loves speaking about most. You're in love with the president. The other day I saw their minister saying, you people, your headlines are so bad, they are so unobjective. How do you people handle that much pressure from the government every other second?
Well, basically, we work for the people. Like when you're not telling lies and telling what is in the public domain, you always keep your head high. That's what I can say. I don't want to speak for the Daily Monitor, but what I can say is we are doing stories that the public is seeing, only that we document them. But whatever we are doing is in the public domain. When you talk about the bad roads, who doesn't know that we have so many bad roads in Uganda? When we talk about health facilities, recently, we have always been talking about these things, and some people in the government will always say the Monitor is trying to expose and everything. This time, it was a judge, former IGG, Mulyagonja, who was complaining about how she had to move from hospital to hospital because of the high bills when her husband was sick. And the husband died when they failed to have a tube to feed him. Yes, in Mulago, Referral National Hospital. So when we talk about those things, some of them in the government will always come out to castigate us and everything. But these things are happening. And the people who buy the paper, we are always speaking their mind, and they're appreciative. I think people should just appreciate the fact that we especially people in the government, that at least we point out some of the things that need to be worked on before they work on them. That's what I can say. So
the pressure is necessary, and
it actually motivates us.
Those threats motivate you.
Yeah, because when someone doesn't speak about something and it continues happening, when no one speaks about it, no one will mind about it. When the roads are bad and everybody feels okay,
moves on
with their daily business normally, and and no one cares. who will come and work on the roads. People will think that everything is okay. But when the pressure increases on the people who are supposed to work on the roads, let me say KCCA.
Oh, yeah.
Because the
When a
roads which are
headline
supposed...
pushes them to...
Exactly. Because now the president will know that these people are not working. Because he's their, let me say, employer, and then the public is also the employer of those people in those offices. So when the heat is back where they are seated, they will jump and come and work for the people.
I saw the minister, Internal Affairs, kind of the reading a monitor in Parliament.
Yeah.
That very day when
it tells a lot. It tells a lot.
That
actually,
they consume your alternative opinion, even if they disagree with it.
You know, in government offices, they're supposed to have a copy of the government paper.
That's New Vision.
Yeah. But they are supposed to receive it. I think they pay. It's like they pay. I think every month.
It's like a mandatory payment. Government pays the Vision Group. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if they incur in an extra cost of buying the monitor, it shows that they really value what we are doing. Some of them do. Because some of them also, that's why they get to know some of the things that might not be in the New Vision.
The monitor sells more than the New Vision, right?
I'm not so certain about that, about the numbers, but what I know is, of course, so many people buy the monitor. That's what I can say. I don't want to be specific on numbers and who sells what, because I don't speak for the monitor.
Of course,
but
you also don't speak
at
for
least
marketing.
What I know is, but what I know is people buy these papers.
Have they threatened to shut you down before?
They have actually shut the monitor twice.
Do you want to give us that context?
The first time the monitor was shut, I think it's twice, but the time I remember when I had just joined Monitor, it was shut down for 10 days. I had gone to the field to cover something, only to come back, and I'm told you can't enter. I tried as much as I could to enter and pick some of my...
What you had left behind, yes.
Sorry?
What you had left behind.
Yeah. I wanted to pick my battery charger for the camera.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick a few things that I left on my desk. I couldn't. Actually, that forced me now to, at least when I'm moving out of office, I normally carry some of my things just in case something happens.
Can happen,
yeah, and I'm seeing the threats these days. Even today, General Mosca in Uganda has tweeted about Monitor trying to tickle him and everything.
The other day it was the minister, the other day it was UCC.
Yeah.
The other day.
But it shows that they are getting the information, I think. They are getting the information, only that they don't want the information.
They don't want to hear that information. Yeah. Okay, if I want us to get to Kawempe. So I saw your picture on that mural of NMG saying, I'm back in office after 1 or so months, but I understand you suffered a violence at the hands of security forces. Yeah. Would you like to walk us through that ordeal and what that means for journalism ahead of the 2026 elections?
It's a long one. I'm going to kind of keep it precise and clear. Of course, like any working day where there was a by-election, it had all the signs of it being violent, according to what we saw during the nominations. One Miracle Ibra was beaten by Jat. He almost lost his eye. Lucky enough, he was treated. What I can say is that Ibra at least can see, and the scars are trying to go away. So we assigned, we actually knew that it's not going to be an easy one. So we went prepared, and early in the morning, we went to that polling station called Kazoa Angola. So from Kazoa Angola, we filmed in the morning when the elections were just starting. Then we had to cover the NUP candidate, that's Elias Nalkola,
Yeah, sure.
when he was casting his vote, because other colleagues were also covering other different candidates. So he voted from Church Zone. That's how I had the polling station being called. It's called Church Zone. That's where he casts his vote.
Casting his vote, yeah.
So we got him at around, I think it was 11:30. So when we were still there, we had that at Mbogo polling station, there was a lot that was happening. The deployment and then the mambas near the polling station. So we moved up to there. But we found other colleagues who were already there covering. So we stayed there for some few minutes, and as we were still there, we got information that some colleagues in Kazoa Angola had been attacked by the military. So we decided to move there to see what had happened and, see how we can, what we can get from there, because we left in the morning when they were voting. By the time we reached, the army had gone. We were given the stories of how these people, how they came, they attacked. We found Hasfanavma of Spark TV, and then there was Now Kenya of Monitor. We found Hakim Wampamba of NBS. We found Hassan Waswasio from NBS. His camera had been taken. His camera and then live unit. All they had at the time was the microphone. Imagine leaving office to go cover an election and you only have a microphone.
You're returning with a microphone, yeah.
Yeah. So we were there. The NTV guys wanted to do a link, and that's how we stayed there for longer, because office wasn't picking the live feed from them. So they were waiting. We had actually traveled in the same car. We had two pickups. So as we were still waiting, when we were leaving, actually, that Kawempe Mbogo polling station, we were joined by Francis Isano, and when we reached Kazoa Angola, we found other journalists there. So we were many of us. It was around, around 15 journalists there. So we stayed there for some time. Then as we were there, Khalifa Aganaga came. I think he's called Muchibi Sadat, aka Khalifa Aganaga. So he came. So we now started working again. So we started filming him and everything. As we were still there, we saw men in the UPDF uniform covering their faces with hoods. Those you would manage to see, you could only see the lips and eyes. Others had black shades. So they were walking, coming towards the polling station. Of course, there was no chaos. So we really didn't mind about them because there was no chaos. We thought they were doing a routine check, like what they had been doing on other different polling stations. So, we have that thing in the media. We always keep in a circle so that we can be identified as journalists. in case someone wants to
wants
do
to touch it,
anything, at least we separate ourselves from the crowd. And that's what we exactly did, not knowing that we had put ourselves in
put a bullseye on your
yeah. So
your
we
face,
isolated ourselves and then cornered ourselves into, let me say, a corner. So when these guys came, they walked straight to where we were. So they started with grabbing our cameras. They started with that one of Isano. He tried to resist a bit, but we told him, you know what, Francis, just hand over the camera peacefully. Because when you try to resist, they might even destroy it. So we are like, hand it over.
Just hand it over.
Even the NTV camera was picked. I also gave in mine peacefully. And we thought that was it. So after that, there was a man who was putting on, who was in plain clothes, whom I later got to know as Major Emma Kutesa. I want to be clear on that because at first I didn't know who he was, but I'm told he's called Major Emma Kutesa. So he ordered and said, deal with them. That's when the beating started. These guys started beating us. Like they were beating anywhere. I had that helmet on.
A helmet, yeah.
It was hit, and it has a dent even up to now.
The helmet, it's like you got an accident.
It's dented. And I was, in my mind, after seeing it, I was like, if this baton or stick had hit me, I don't know if I would have survived, and I don't know if I would have been... By the
time it broke a helmet, what about when it comes to your skull? Yeah.
Yeah. So we were beaten, taken into a waiting drone. So when we reached into the drone, we still had our body hammers on and everything.
The press.
Yeah. So we, in the van, there were already people waiting. The moment you enter, they just start beating you. Of course, we found in other people who had already been arrested. I saw them as we were entering. After some time, they told us to put off the body armors and everything, and we were ordered to remove our shirts and then blindfold ourselves. It was a hard time. Of course, it wasn't easy. So they started beating us again. They would beat you wherever they find. They would beat the knees. They would beat the ankles. Then they would beat the elbows. Anywhere. In the head, in the back. So we were there for I think it was like an hour and some few minutes. They locked all the windows
of the van, yeah.
Yeah, and it was packed in one place, and the sunshine was too much. So it was very hot inside there. I had never seen myself sweat.
That much, yeah.
My sweat starting to drop on. When you are seated and then you feel the sweat dropping on you. The shirt I had wrapped around my eyes was all wet, and they made sure you were not seeing. Because I remember one of them kept touching on my face.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I had not recognized why he was doing it. But later I got to know that he wanted to check whether I was seeing or not. And if we had found out that I was seeing, oh God. So they took away everything that we had, the watches, if you had a phone, you were ordered to switch it off. You know how you switch off your phone when you're not even seeing.
Yeah.
So the memory cards that we had, everything that we had on us that was electronic was taken away. We were there for some good time, and every time they would bring in a new person. Whenever they brought in a new person, those were sticks for all of you. So they would make rounds. There was a point they said, we are going to count you. So I don't know whether it was a wire or a baton, an electric wire, the ones that we call solidors.
Yeah, I know
so
them, yeah.
You would feel they would hit in your head. So when they hit in your head, you had to say 1. Then they hit another one, then 2. They hit another one, then 3. They hit another one, then 4. So we were 13. But I was around the 8th person when you're counting from the right.
Yeah, sure.
So whenever they reached that point, they would reach a point around 8, 9. They would say, someone has done a mistake. So they would go back. They reached a time when they had hit people from the right side. So they now turned onto the left. But now remember me, I was around number 8 there. So when they turned to this other side, I was among the first 5 because I think first 5. So
yeah, it becomes first 5 now.
The share I got was really
was
a big one because they would hit you and then they say the last person should say, because we were 13, so you would say 13, the last number. So they hit us like 6 rounds actually, or 7. So the last person said 13. Then someone shouted, last number, because it was unbearable.
And then
they really wanted it to end, and they said, now this one has spoiled each and everything. Because we felt again. So they repeated. Lucky enough, I was the last person because, of course, I was so cautious about whatever was happening.
Yeah.
So when they hit me, I said, 13 last number. Then they said, okay, now we now know the number. But of course they already knew, but they just wanted to torture us. But they tortured us in that van. One of them kept stepping on my ribs. I actually still have pain. I'm still doing therapy. Since last week on Friday, the pain has been too much in my back. There was a time I would wake up in the night and I couldn't feel my left leg.
And become paralyzed, yeah.
Yeah. So until I went and did a scan and they found that I had gotten muscle contraction in the back. So since then, they gave me medicine and I've been doing therapy. I think I will be fine. Because there's nothing to do as a man. You can't sit home.
Absolutely, you can't sit home.
Yeah. So
that's too bad. What
then
redress?
They went and after some time, they went and dropped us at Kawempe police. When we were getting out of that van, they made sure that our eyes were properly tied. So they made us make one line, Musururu Moja. So they had one of their people who stood in front because for him he would see.
Yeah.
So they told you when it was one person coming out. So when you come out, they would put your hand and you hold onto the belt of someone who was in front of you. So they put us in one line. So what they did, they only picked the journalists who were in the van. We don't know why. I think the pressure was too much because social media was all over.
Asking for...
Yes, for the release of journalists who had been arrested. So at that time, when they were walking us in there was another nurse who had been arrested, so she was also removed. There was another guy who had actually fainted in the van. because he said he was asthmatic. Only saying that made him to be beaten. You don't say, you can't breathe. So there was one who kept telling him, so you want to die? Okay, you die. And he kept beating him. And then others were like, who's that one making noise? Deal with that man. At one point, I had to pull out that guy's leg and I started massaging it because, it's one of the things you can do for first aid, massaging under the feet of someone. I did it, but I was in fear if these guys see me.
They may punish you for the
because
first aid.
The guy was really bad off. So, basically, that's what happened. Now, when this guy was walking us in, Kawempe police has steps. So whenever he reached on the steps, he would increase speed. Remember, for us, we were not seeing. We are still, So he would increase speed. And at first, we didn't have our shoes on. They had told us to remove the shoes. So you would knock yourself on the steps. Then there is a table, the counter of Kawempe. You can't see people taking corners, so you knock yourself here.
That was very bad. That was very bad. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and that's very, 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 very bad. That's very bad. We pray it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, sure. I don't pray. I mean, I pray it doesn't happen to anyone, because what happened was really horrible. Horrible. When we talk about the torture of journalists, people tend to ignore and play it down. I always give an example of someone opening up their shop. As you're still selling your merchandise, let me say you're selling your cassava, you're selling your beans and everything, then the military comes
and tortures you at your shop.
Yeah. Exactly. So the field of journalism, that's our shop. That's where we shop from.
So only that for us,
some of us shop in
dangerous
photography, others shop in people's voices and images, others write, and that's the difference between the shopping. But we are all working. Imagine you are seated in your office as an accountant.
And someone invades you and tortures you for doing your work.
Takes you and then throws you to a police station.
Blindfolded and all.
Yeah.
Abubaker, thank you so much for sharing this story.
It was terrible.
Thank you for taking on those sacrifices. We hope that that God pays you for those sacrifices sometime. And to our viewer, we hope you followed through on our deal on how journalism is under siege, especially when we are covering issues around governance. Thank you.
Let's talk about human rights. Human rights are the basic freedoms and protections that belong to every person simply because they are human. These include the right to speak your mind, to meet peacefully with others, to participate in decisions that affect your life, and to live with dignity and fairness. They are not special privileges, they are legal guarantees found in Uganda's 1995 Constitution and international treaties. Human rights matter in everyday life, from being heard in your community to accessing public services to feeling safe online or offline. The Civic Space Initiative is here to help people understand, protect, and use these rights. Through education, training, and dialogue, we are building a stronger, more informed society where people can stand up, speak out, and shape their future. Because when you know your rights, you can claim them. Learn more at www.sepa.or.ug or www.asf.be. Why should we care about human rights? Because they are the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace. Human rights ensure that every person, no matter who they are, has the right to express an opinion, belong to a group, take part in their country's decisions, and live with dignity. These rights protect us all in schools, in communities, at workplaces, online, and in public life. When human rights are respected, societies are fairer, safer, and more inclusive. But when they're ignored or abused, people lose their voice and their power. The Civic Space Initiative exists to make sure that doesn't happen. Together with communities, civil society, and institutions, we are strengthening the knowledge and tools needed to defend civic freedoms and uphold the rule of law. Because when human rights thrive, everyone benefits. Visit www.sepa.or.ug or www.asf.be to find out how you can be part of the movement to protect and promote human dignity. Your rights, your voice, your future. This message is brought to you by the Center for Policy Analysis together with ASF in partnership with the Belgian Partner in Development.
Thank you for listening to the Policy Digest podcast, the Center for Policy Analysis podcast that is profiling African ideas and people that are shaping the future of their communities. Subscribe to all our platforms on YouTube and Podbean.